In part 2, we watch the liver dispatch its fleet of APOB trucks. I left you with one question. What happens when there are too many for too long on a road with a soft living wall? This is that story, the pile-up. And it does not happen the way you've been told. First, the good news your body built in. The liver doesn't just make trucks, it takes them back off the road. On the surface of your liver cells sit thousands of docking bays. A truck pulls in, the liver pulls the cholesterol inside and sends the empty truck's parts back to be reused. These docking bays are how your body keeps the number of trucks in check. About 7 out of every 10 trucks are pulled off the road by your liver this way. The more docking bays, the fewer trucks left circulating. This one mechanism controls your LDL more than almost anything else. So what sets the number of docking bays? Meet the bouncer, a protein called PCSK9. Its whole job is to grab a docking bay and drag it off to be destroyed before it can be reused. More bouncer, fewer bays, more trucks stuck on the road, higher LDL. Now here's a clue that will matter later. Some people are born with a weaker bouncer. Their livers keep more docking bays, clear more trucks, and run lower LDL their whole lives. When researchers followed them, in observational lifetime exposure data, one group had up to 88% lower coronary heart disease risk. Hold that thought. It's why one of our best modern drugs exists. And here's the flip side, the clue that proves the whole theory. Some people are born with only half their docking bays working. It's called familial hypercholesterolemia, and it's more common than most doctors once thought, roughly 1 in 250 people. With half the docking bays, their LDL runs 2 to 3 times normal from the day they're born. Not from bacon, not from butter, from a single inherited difference in how many trucks their liver can pull off the road. And this is the part that settles the argument. These people, carrying high LDL from birth with no other bad habits, can develop heart disease decades early. Their bodies run the experiment nobody could ethically design, a lifetime of high LDL. And the answer is brutally clear. The trucks, over time, damage the wall. So how does a truck on the road become damage in the wall? Not by clogging it like grease in a pipe. Forget that picture. It's wrong, and it's why people misunderstand this disease. The truth is stranger, and it starts with a truck slipping where it shouldn't. A truck crosses the smooth inner lining and slips into the wall itself. Normally, it would pass back out. But the wall is lined with sticky molecular Velcro and the truck's ID tag, APOB, snags on it. The truck is now trapped inside the wall. This trapping, not the amount in your blood alone, is the true first step. Trapped and exposed, the truck's cargo goes rancid. It oxidizes like oil left open to the air. And oxidized cargo is a chemical alarm. The wall reads it as damage and calls for help. The immune system answers. White blood cells pour into the wall to clean up the mess. They swallow the oxidized cargo and swallow until they're so stuffed with cholesterol they turn into bloated foam cells. A pile of them is the very first visible lesion. Doctors can find these streaks in teenagers. Now the wall tries to wall off the mess. It builds a fibrous cap, a scar-like lid, over the growing pile of dead cells and cholesterol underneath. For years this can hold. A quiet, growing plaque, sealed under a cap, causing no symptoms at all. This is why it's silent. But the pile underneath keeps inflaming the wall, and inflammation eats at the cap from below, thinning it. A thick cap is stable. A thin cap over a big, greasy core is a dangerous setup, a plaque far more likely to rupture. Doctors call it a vulnerable plaque. And one day the cap tears. The greasy core spills into the bloodstream. And your blood does what it does with any wound. It clots. But this clot forms inside the artery, and it can slam the vessel shut. In the heart, that's a heart attack. In the brain, a stroke. Decades of silent buildup in a single moment. Now you see why clogged pipe is so wrong and so dangerous. This was never sludge in a tube. It was a wound the trucks kept reopening year after year until the wall gave way. The disease is the pile-up, the inflammation, and the tear, not grease you can simply flush out. And here's the fact that changes how you should think about your own body. The damage adds up. It's not just how high your LDL is today, it's how high, multiplied by how many years. A lifetime of a slightly too high number does more damage than a brief spike. which is exactly why lowering it earlier protects you far more than lowering it late. So the whole chain in one breath. Too many ApoB trucks for too long slip into the wall, get trapped, go rancid, trigger inflammation, and build a plaque that can one day tear. Every step traces back to one thing you can actually change: the number of trucks. Which raises the question that decides your future. How many trucks are on your road right now? Because you cannot feel this happening. In Part 4, we learn to read the danger, the real numbers, the ones that lie, and the one most people have never had measured. Part 4 shows you which cholesterol numbers actually predict danger, and the one your doctor may never have ordered. Subscribe so it finds you.